Hello everybody, it's Foxy speaking, and welcome to another episode of Foxy's Fun Inspirational Chats. And today I will be your host. And in this episode, this is an episode about a night owl. This night owl is a night owl like no other. This night owl was known as the big, beautiful, motherly night owl, or sometimes just plainly known as the motherly night owl. This night owl, her name was Edith. Even though she went out at night and went toot-toot, toot-toot at certain times of the night, she always wanted to make sure that any animal out in the night, be it cats going out hunting in the night, or if there was a dog going out on a night's walk with its owner, she always wanted to make sure that they were not in distress. Even though her owl hooting may sound a little spooky, she was one of the most loving of all owl specimens, of all owls anybody could have ever encountered. Edith the Owl was always like a mother figure to any animal in wildlife, or very possibly even human. But Edith the Owl lived near a wood in a fairly tall tree, a fairly tall acorn tree, with a family of 3 baby owls and a husband. Her 3 baby owls were Harry, Peter, and Jonathan. Harry, Peter, and Jonathan were her babies, and her husband was Kenneth. Kenneth and Edith were a happy owl couple together, and always was she dearly loved by her husband and enormously loved by her babies. She was always the best mother, as they so thought. Their mother Edith was the best mother they could have ever had in their lifetime. And they always knew their mother had an important job to do at night, or as they knew that their mother felt she had an important moral duty to do at night time, as they so realized, and all the rest of things. One evening, as Edith the loving owl finished reading a bedtime story to her babies Harry, Peter, and Jonathan, and her husband, who was about to go to sleep soon, keeping the boys company, Edith leaned towards her children, smiling at them with her owl-like beak, and said, "I'll be back in an hour, boys. I'll be back in an hour. Just got to go out for an hour to check that everything is okay, and then I'll come back and comfort you all to sleep," she said. "Goodbye, Mummy," said Edith's children, Harry, Peter, and Jonathan. And Kenneth was like, "Oh, good night, my darling." She gave the husband a kiss on the beaks, and then gave her children a good kiss on their heads. And after she gave the hugs and the kisses, the motherly night owl Edith got to the circular arch hole being the entry point of the tree, and swooped and flew into action, flapping her wings and keeping them elevated to glide and float from one tree to another. She was about 1.5 miles away from her home tree when she stood on the tree looking out for any trouble, or looking out for things as a general observation. Sometimes Edith would let out of either an involuntary or voluntary, or sometimes intended, Twoo-twoo, twoo-twoo, twoo-twoo. Sometimes it sounded spooky, but sometimes it just didn't bother anybody or any wildlife animals or any wildlife. But she felt it was the right thing to do and very owl-like, not just making the hooting twoo-twoo noises, but also looking out for anybody, making sure that nobody is in distress. She'd only been out for a good 15 or so minutes when then she saw a cat wandering out on its own. Edith, as soon as she caught sight of the cat, swooped down from the tree and, managing to catch up quickly, flew right in front of the cat's way, and the cat stopped right in front of her. "Oh, hello. Are you lost, little one?" Edith said, looking down at the small black and white cat. The small black and white cat looked visibly intimidated by the big physical presence of Edith the Owl. Oh no, you're a big scary bird, aren't you?" said the little black and white kitten. "I'm just going out learning hunting. I'm on my way back home. I'm on my way home right now." Edith didn't mean to scare the kitten. She didn't even mean to scare the kitten to the point where it nearly made the kitten cry. Edith walked slowly, very, very slowly and very carefully towards the kitten and said, "Please come here," she said, and put her wings out, ready to embrace, like giving a cuddle or an embracing hug. Looking at Edith, the kitten walked slowly forward, then got up on its two paws and put its body towards Edith's body, and Edith put her wings around the kitten as the kitten put her paws around Edith the Owl's body. The kitten didn't mind the embracing, but Edith, on the other hand, loved to embrace more than anything. She was quite the hugger. The kitten all of a sudden went from visibly intimidated to now feeling very, very safe and very, very loved. The black and white kitten and the lovely big beautiful owl Edith finally let go of the embracing after a good long 2 or 3 minutes of hugging and embracing, and the kitten said, "I feel so safe around you now. Next time I see you I've got to say hello and now thank you. You're one big beautiful owl and you're very motherly. I wish I had you as my mummy, but I've got my owners who love me." Edith, smiling towards the little kitten, just looked at her, just looked at the little kitten beaming, and then before long a little tear rolled from Edith's owl eye around her brown and white coloured fur. "I could always be your friend, and I'll always be a mother figure for you until you've grown up, no matter how old or how young you are right now, little one. You will always be a friend of mine, and you can always look up to me as your second mother." The kitten liked that very, very much. The kitten immediately loved Edith the Owl almost already, and the little kitten couldn't help but want to give Edith the Owl another great big nice long embracing hug, which Edith accepted, and they gave each other a big nice long tightening embracing hug. And after a longer 4-minute embracing hug, The little kitten said goodbye and thanked Edith for everything, for all the comfort and looking out for her. And then she walked and trundled away on her way back home into the dark, dark night. It was not terribly far off the middle of the night, but many hours to come for the middle of the night. And so Edith got back up on the tree and began looking around, making sure that no one was in distress, until she saw a tortoise. She couldn't help but notice the little tortoise just walking around in the grass, and so she swooped right over to the tortoise and landed right in front of the tortoise. "Oh, goodness me, you've startled me," the tortoise said in surprise as the big, beautiful owl swooped and landed in front of him. "Are you lost, little tortoise?" Edith asked politely. "Oh, yes, but don't be so belittling," the tortoise snapped. "I am not little tortoise. I was little tortoise as a little boy. My name is Terence, and I am actually older than you think. I'm much older than you, great big owl." Edith felt insulted by such a remark from the tortoise. Now, Edith said crossly, but really not wanting to be confrontational or start a fight. She really said it as kindly and as patiently as she could. She said, "Now, all I wanted to do was to try and help you. You look lost. If you are lost and you need help, I'd be more than happy to help you. But if you don't need my help, that's always fine. But please, if you ever see me again in the future, you know I can always help you with whatever you may need help with, and I'll always provide whatever help I can, really, both physically and emotionally and very ably can give." The tortoise stopped looking and stopped thinking cynically of Edith the Owl and looked towards her. Then he felt very guilty and his face fell from a cross look to now a very, very sad and almost emotionally broken look. A few tears rolled from Terence's eyes, and he could not help but feel a huge, immense depth of guilt for throwing up a lot of insults towards Edith. Edith noticed the tortoise's cry and then gave the tortoise a great big hug. Then before long, the tortoise asked Edith if she could fly him to one of the neighbourhoods because his former owner abandoned him. Just took him out to the park one day and abandoned him. Edith was so shocked to the bare bone with Terence's story and agreed to accept his request with flying him over to any house in the neighbourhood into their garden, as she knew that there could be a potentially nice new neighbour for him. And so Edith put her feet onto Terence's shell and picked him up with all her strength and flew, carrying as she carried the green tortoise up into the air and flying towards the neighbourhood. "Oh, thank you so much," Terence said to Edith. "You are one very motherly, but in a way very sisterly owl to me, but you'd be very motherly to all the children, all the wildlife children. You'd just be the most motherly owl of all." "Oh, thank you so much," Terence, Edith said. "Oh, just to say, my name is Edith, by the way. Please call me Edith." "Thank you, Edith," Terence said politely. "I will never forget this. If I ever see you in the future one day, again should it happen, I just want to be with you for a bit and then natter back home." Edith really liked the idea of having a friendship with Terence. She knew that with anybody she makes friends with, she would always try and make sure she'd see them again and keep in touch with them and all the rest of things. And she always wanted to make sure that any new friend she met, or any friend, be it new or old, she would always want to try and help them with whatever they needed help with, even if they didn't need help and all the rest of things. Edith dropped Terence off in one of the gardens of the neighbourhood houses. Fortunately, the neighbours would have been asleep. And then, once she put Terence down, they exchanged their goodbyes to each other, and then Edith swooped off and flew away back to the park, where she was having a lookout of observations at. Edith came back to the tree, and then she began having some more observations, but it was nearly an hour since she'd gone out. Nearly 1 hour had passed, but she decided that one more duty would not hurt, should it be needed. Then, before long, Edith saw a dog going for a little run around in the park at night. Edith swooped towards the little dog and landed right in front of the small miniature Springer Spaniel. The dog was surprised, but was delighted. "Oh, hello, hello, hello," said the dog in excitement. Oh, it's so nice to see you. I've never really seen an owl before. I've only heard them on the TV. "I am an owl, yes, but you're a big, beautiful owl," the dog said in excitement. "My name's Philip, by the way. I love all kinds of animals. I even live with a cat at home." "Oh, how wonderful. I'm delighted hearing this," Edith said politely to Philip the dog. Are you lost, young Philip?" Edith asked the dog. Oh, no, I'm not lost," Philip said in kindly response. I'm going out with my owner. He's just far away at the moment, but I'm going to run back to him. I'm just having a little run round." "Oh, that's wonderful. I'm delighted you know where your owner is and that you're not a stray," Edith said. "I'm just making sure that everything and all animals and wildlife are happy and satisfied for tonight. But then I'm going to need to go back home because I've got children and to look after and a husband to keep company," Edith said. Philip just looked happily towards Edith, and Edith looked happily towards Philip, and then Edith walked towards Philip and put her wings around his neck, giving him a nice embracing hug. And as they were embracing, Philip tried to put his head, leaning his head towards the right cheek of Edith the Owl herself. After a 2-minute long embracing, Edith bid her goodbyes to Philip the dog and then took off and swooped, flying into the air, and knew it was time to return home. Edith felt happy that she made 3 wonderful new friends: a kitten, who she forgot to ask her name, a tortoise, Terence the tortoise, and Philip, the miniature Springer Spaniel dog. Edith couldn't have been a more happy owl, and she couldn't have felt more helpful and more kindly considerate towards them all. She arrived back home, where her husband gave her a nice greeting. Her children were just about to wake, but knew that once their mother was home, it was time for them to all happily go to sleep together. And so, before long, Edith snuggled up on one side next to her children, and her husband snuggled up on the other side of the children, and they all fell fast asleep together, knowing that the next day was going to bring them some pleasurable enjoyment. The end. Well, thanks everybody indeed for watching this very video, everybody, on this very latest episode of the Foxy's Fun Inspirational Chat series. And for those of you who have not seen the previous episode as of yet, which was going to be the big inspirational adventure story, which has already been done, by the way, because I said it was going to be either episode 105 or episode 110 at the latest. But it's episode 105, the inspirational adventure story of the Foxy's Fun Inspirational Chat series. For those of you who are interested in seeing it, but have not yet seen it as of yet, the link to the video, it will be down in the description below of the inspirational adventure series. And if you've not seen it, why not? Do give it a go. I would certainly be suggesting and recommending oneself watch it if they so wanted to. Of course I would. I certainly would indeed. If you've not yet seen Foxy's Fun Inspirational Chats episode 105, why not? Give it a go! I mean, don't worry if you don't want to, because it is well over 2 hours long. But if you are up for watching a well over 2 hour long Foxy's Fun Inspirational Chats episode, definitely get yourself thrown in and knocked out into watching it. That's if you want to see it. That's all. But the link will always be found in this video for whenever any of you want to see it. And honestly, there's a big story. The big story, I'm not going to say it in full, but what got me into the idea for this potentially new story series within the Foxy's Fun Inspirational Chats, what got me motivated most into the idea, the conceptual ideas or ideal concepts of the very starting point of this story, is because a good, wonderful good new friend of mine did say to me that she is a night owl. Well, how it went, I saw her response, and she said, "I think you've come to realise that I'm a bit of a night owl." She sent a giggling emoji after this. "I think you've come to realise I am a bit of a night owl." Because I was reading her lovely response one morning, and I didn't realise she was a bit of a night owl. Sometimes I can be a night owl at times. And also, another one of my good friends, I responded to her quite a late time once, and I was like, I'm really, really sorry if I've responded to you at such an obscenely late time. And then she said, "It's my turn to be a night owl." But this friend of mine, oh, I love her so much. She's a friend I'm greatly trusting of, by the way. And to give another example, I befriended her through Graham and Fiona, just to say. And this wonderful new friend of mine, who did describe herself as a night owl, as far as what she did say to me once. This was shortly before the start of 2024, when she shared this with me, and I expressed great concern for her, because she was dreadfully ill at this point. And I was so deeply concerned, having gone through a lot of stress and worry for my mother, who was previously ill, and she was just about getting better by that point. But once my mother started getting better, my wonderful friend I'm talking to you about just now was dreadfully ill, and I was deeply concerned. In the same way also, Graham and Fiona were deeply concerned for her as well, and my good wonderful friend Mary Ipock was deeply concerned for her too, and she said, "We care about you, Michelle." And Michelle was was thankful and grateful enormously towards her. Well, she was thankful and grateful enormously towards all of us when we were wishing her the best of recovery following her illness bout during Christmas and the early starting point of the new year proceedings of 2024. You know, and that wonderful and very loving friend of mine is none other than that of Michelle Pope, who I'm very greatly trusting of, alongside Susan Reich, Elaine Williams, Catherine T, and Rosie's Cottage. Honestly, I really do have a great deal of trust towards her. But don't get me wrong, I'm trusting of all of my friends, even if I'm not greatly trusting of them. But I really do have a great sense of trust towards her, I really do. And there is a reason why I have a great sense of trust in her, is because she said something to me that I'm going to cherish heartily in a lifetime. And because it's had a lasting impression on me. It's had a lasting impact on me, a very positive lasting impact on me, with a tremendously extraordinary side effect, if I might share. But it was a good extraordinary side effect, because I said it was a positive side effect. She once said to me that she said that I represented the epitome of a gentleman, and that was just terribly touching, greatly. I am always, since then, I'm always enormously thankful and grateful towards lovely Michelle herself. No, really, and I mean that. I mean that sincerely and very deeply, for sure. I really do. And you know, when she said to me that, I think you've come to realise I'm a bit of a night owl. Giggling emoji. I think she can be a night owl sometimes, because sometimes I've read, whenever I've sometimes heard from her, she's done it at a late timing. And I give her a kindly response. But when I first saw that, when she said she was a bit of a night owl, I think in a way it epitomised a representation of a very kind, and also in various bits and pieces, a motherly night owl, in a way. So I think Michelle, lovely Michelle Pope, wonderful Michelle Pope, dearly sincere Michelle Pope, I truly think she is very good at representing the epitomised concept, or the singular epitome, of a motherly night owl, whenever she's talking to people who may be staying up at night, making sure they're okay, and that they're happy and satisfied with things, and that they're not worried about anything at night. That's my personal opinion and my personal stance of batched opinions. But if I did get this wrong, should Michelle had been watching this, I really greatly apologise, you know. But that's what really got me into this story, when Michelle, my wonderful friend, Michelle Pope that is, said to me once that, you've come to realise I'm a bit of a night owl. But when I saw that, I think she's more than just a night owl. I think Michelle can really represent the epitome of a very kind and motherly night owl to those who are younger than her, and those who may be staying up at a certain time or an obscenely late time at night, and she's just making sure they are happy and well, and you know, and just hoping they're okay, and all the rest of things. And it's very possible that there could be another future story of Edith the Owl, even if it may not happen very often in the future. But thanks everybody indeed for watching this video, but rest assured there will always be Robert the Cat stories in the future, as well as other new future interesting stories and all the rest of things, as well as wonderful new story characters of certain adventure stories and things. Thanks for watching. Once again, if I may repeat, for any of you who are interested in seeing the Fun Inspirational Adventure story episode, it will be linked in the very description below. And could you imagine if Edith the Owl were real and you were out at night and you were encountered by her? I think it would be an encounter I would personally want, or quite a lot of people would quite likely want as well. But I could be wrong all the same. Thanks for watching, and ta-ta another time. From Foxy.